said you had this one to start, right? I thought I was supposed to say something.
Yeah. I actually don't know how this is gonna go. If it'll work. Yeah. We'll see. Okay, this actually isn't the vibe that I'm going for.
What vibe are you going for?
I wanted to basically call out the fact that we had our first snowfall and also make it like post-apocalyptic. But I feel like this looks more like I'm a hacker.
Yeah, you look like a little bit like the guy from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
But you still look cool.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, thanks, but, you know, let's try to keep the topics to things that the audience doesn't know.
Yeah, we did
I
have
really
our
shouldn't wear
first...
sunglasses.
Wait, why are you wearing sunglasses for a snowfall? I think I missed...
Listen, I have a lot of bad ideas. It was more of a take on, like, the apocalypse.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, the apocalypse.
Yeah. And like I said, I have missed the mark with the overall look as well, so...
Yep. I'm glad you called it the first snowfall. Because I think we had flurries before, but it was like barely.
Yeah, those don't count.
But this one stuck for 8 hours.
Well, I mean, we've still got some.
Oh, really?
Like on our plants and stuff,
Oh. Yeah, I feel like, which way do we face? We face east? I don't know. Our whole parking lot is gone from snow.
Gone from snow?
Gone from snow. This is my everyday vocabulary.
Welcome to the wardrobe. This is the Who You Know podcast. I'm Rylan Deemer.
And I'm Elisa Wildy.
And we've got a fantastic show for you today. I'm so excited to talk about 2021.
Yeah.
All the best.
It's wrapping up.
Are we talking about any worse? Probably not. Let's try to keep it positive, shall we?
Avoid those, yeah.
Okay. So best of 2021. We've also got a little bit of holiday tradition talk, which I think is going to be very heartwarming.
Getting ready for the holidays.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of that.
Christmas, New Year's. I mean, I celebrate Christmas, so I don't have any other traditions, but yeah.
Right.
That's probably what we'll talk about.
Yeah. But yeah, we had our first snowfall. It was actually quite bad. Not in terms of like quantity of snow, but the roads got super icy.
Oh, but it was pretty late. At least. So
it was like between 6 p.m. and midnight that it all happened, I think. Yeah, and I had a friend telling me that when he was driving down that primary road that heads east to west in our city, that he actually saw 5 different vehicles that had rolled into the ditch.
That is scary. Dan was out that night and he came home at like 10:30. He said he slid once, but because I was nervous when I looked outside, I was like, please drive safe. And he's like, I almost slid, and I was like, I told you to be safe.
What do you do when you get like really worried about somebody's safety? Like some people will like pray even if they're like not religious, like that kind of thing. Some people just like dwell on it a lot.
Yeah, I would say I worry about it often, and so if they weren't responding, then I would start calling them a bunch, and then I would start reaching out to people who they were with. I mean, I haven't done that in a long time, so I guess I haven't been that worried about anyone recently, probably because we're all stuck at home anyway.
True.
I have my eyes on everyone I need to. Yeah, I worry a lot, though, about things. So I get pretty used to it. Safety, I would say safety is not like one of the highest things I worry about.
Okay.
But
what do you worry about?
I'm trying to think. I worry. I'm going to pause and cut this out.
Take your time. Actually, leave all of the pausing in.
The anticipation.
That way they know like how hard you're trying to come up with this. I
think, like, if you think of what anxiety is, I feel like that's my brain. Like, I worry about, oh my God, tomorrow I need to get this and this and this done. And then I just think about it for like hours on end. And then I'm like, okay, what if my package doesn't arrive soon enough? Like, what am I going to do if that doesn't happen? It's kind of like a rolling ball of like, what if this doesn't happen? What will I do next? And I'm just always thinking of that. Even like probably today, Rylan offered me lunch like before I came over. Even in my head, I was like, what if he forgot about the lunch thing? Like, what if I get there and I'm hungry? Like, I was trying to decide. So I was like, okay, I'm going to eat a snack before I go just in case.
You're such an actuary.
Yeah. It's not like over consuming of my life though, I think, which is good. Yeah. Or at least maybe I just don't let it.
It's like a mild anxiety, maybe.
Yeah.
You're kind of just looking at contingency plans and.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's how like an actuary brain is work.
Yeah.
Wired. Yeah.
We are taught through our profession to look at all of the risks, even if they're very, very low likelihood.
Yeah. Definitely risk adverse is in my brain all the time. Yeah. Not all the time. I'll take a risk once in a while if I think it isn't that risky. Probabilities.
Oh yeah. I feel like just wearing sunglasses makes me like a slightly different person.
I'm used to it already. I feel like we should always wear sunglasses.
All right. So
this is like Snoop Dogg version of you or something.
It's Pitbull version of me.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, we weren't really planning on talking about all that, but
do you worry about anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think like the thinking about all the things I have to do tomorrow, I don't relate to that. But I definitely have like a very safety minded kind of. I don't know if it's anxiety or just like it's like high priority for my brain. But yeah, with like home safety things, like making sure that like, you know, there aren't things that can trip people. I worry a lot about like a potential electrical issue down here because we've had like a couple light bulbs burn out like very quickly after we put them back in. So I'm like, all right, let's just not use that until like we get an electrician in. I think about stuff like that quite a bit.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's not something that goes through my head a lot is like the things in my apartment at least. Maybe if I had a house it would be different. I don't know if we're too concerned about safety.
Right. Well, also like not just safety, but also for me like health. Like I think about that a lot. I think that probably has to do with like living with an autoimmune condition that I've had my entire life. So I just think about it more often because it's kind of like in my face more often.
Yeah, your lifestyle's different.
Right. Yeah. So I think there's like a little bit of learned behavior there. And I don't know, like neither of these like safety or health, I don't like feel stressed about it all the time or anything.
Yep.
But like if something happens and then I'm like, oh, then I'm like on, and I think that's where the stress comes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not like pervasive. Like it's not throughout everything in my life.
Yep. That just reminded me, I feel like I worry about optimization a lot too. Like if I buy something online, I constantly check it to see if it goes down in price, and then I return the other one and I buy the like it has to be like enough savings to do it. But then I'm like, with my flights, I was buying flights this week and I'm like, no, we need to buy them now. Like, what if they go up in price tomorrow? Like,
right.
I just get so worried about that too. Yeah. And getting on our flight. I want to be there an hour before the flight takes off. Because I'm
the same way. I think this is a shared one. Good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it annoys some people that I travel with, but I am like, we need to go.
Yeah, I get pretty tense if I don't have like a very healthy buffer.
Yep.
And like usually I end up sitting there for like an hour at the airport reading a book or whatever.
Right. It's not
But that is much that's like preferable and kind of cool.
Yep.
To like, you know, only having like 5 minutes before your flight boards, because then I feel like, oh, I was cutting it too close.
Yeah.
What if there's an accident on the way to the airport? Or, you know, whatever.
I was heart pounding one time. It was a connecting flight, and we had like 20 minutes to get food. And before it starts boarding, we get in line. I'm like, how long will this take? And they said, about 20 minutes. I'm like, okay. And Dan's like, should we skip it? I was like, he really was hungry. I was like, no, you can do it. And I'm literally I do like nervous tics. I'm like shaking my leg the whole time, and we're just waiting. They're calling the next class. And we finally get up there and they're like, I've been calling your guys' names. And I was like, well, we're here now.
Oh my
I was so scared.
When was this?
It was probably this year. I don't know where we were going.
Okay, cool. Should we get into the
real stuff?
Yeah, the episode.
Yeah.
So what we wanted to do is talk about like the best of 2021, and we've got categories for it, right? So we've got like best movie, best moment, maybe. We were fiddling around with the wording on some of these.
Yep.
I've got my best video game. We've got a lot of like bests that we're gonna go through, and we've each got our own categories that we came up with.
Yep.
And I feel like if you've got a best video game, feel free to speak up. Tell me about it, Elisa.
Okay.
I'd love to hear it.
I did just start playing one this week. I might just talk about it.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
It'll be a funny one.
We figured we'd go through some of the best of 2021, kind of look back on the year and remember how great it was.
Yeah.
Call out those things that we thought were impactful to us and share it with you.
And tell us what your favorites are. Give us some
in the comments below.
Fight us on it.
Oh, I'm just now realizing that I didn't go back and answer all those comments that we had, and I'm getting to the point now where I actually feel guilty.
Okay, goal this week. I'll write it down.
No, seriously.
I do write my goals down.
I need to focus on that. I don't have goals, so maybe that's part of the
problem. I
problem.
have weekly goals.
Let's start off with favorite movie.
Take it away.
I will happily take it away because I went to the theaters a couple weeks back to see Dune.
Have you?
And it blew me away. I've been a fan of the Dune novels for a long time.
You've read them all?
I read a few of them.
Okay.
I think there are like 7, and I've read 3 or 4. Very much enjoyed them. I think Dune, the first one, is just a fantastic novel. Really recommend it. But the movie is, in my mind, the best adaptation of it so far. And it only goes through, the first half or maybe 2/3 of the novel.
Mm-hmm.
And it, cuts some things out. It's an adaptation. These things are what they are.
Yeah.
But I thought, what they did with the soundtrack, Hans Zimmer just blew me away with managing to, there's, a spirituality to the music that is so captivating. The director, I'm going to mess up his name, so I'm not even going to try, but he did a fantastic job with, creating that sense of scale, how big a lot of things are in that universe, whether it's the spaceships, and then you see the bigger spaceship, and it just felt almost overwhelming seeing it in the theater. You felt small. It was incredible, just the sense of scale. And then the story itself, I think, is captivating. I thought the acting was fantastic. Some of those key scenes, the Gom Jabbar scene was basically just really emotional, nuanced acting. I don't know. They captured it. So for me, it was a beautiful experience.
So I also saw that movie, and when I was talking about with someone, they also mentioned the soundtrack, and it's not something that hit me when I was watching it, and I was surprised. So I was like, I gotta watch it again. But I think it did a good job of making me want to read the book, actually. So I agree. I really liked the storyline. Yeah. The one comment I had was I felt like, how it's usually building up a story, climax, resolution.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the climax happened in the middle of the movie, which is weird.
It kind of
because when it ended,
the part one aspect makes it kind of strange.
Yeah, I agree. But I still would want to see a second one.
Yeah.
But that's the only movie I saw this year, so I can't say mine.
Sure, yeah. We saw a lot of movies from home, perhaps for obvious reasons. We've got a nice TV down here, but yeah, I think Dune in theaters was pretty incredible. The other thing I'll say is Dune, the novel, can be hard to read the first time you try to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially at the beginning, there's just a lot of terms being thrown around. I actually, for someone who hasn't read the novel before, I recommend you watch the movie before reading the novel, which is, it feels almost strange for me to make that kind of recommendation, because I feel for most film adaptations, the book is just better,
mm-hmm.
hands down. But I actually think, though the book is better in this case, I think, if you're not familiar with it yet, watching the film first and then reading the novel is probably the best way to go.
Yeah.
So I feel it gives you it makes it more approachable.
I'm almost conflicted about reading it though, because you said, the movie's only at half or 2/3, so then I'll know what happens next if I finish it. I could just stop. That's if I can read that fast, first of all.
Sure.
But yeah.
I think you'd finish the book in time, for sure.
I haven't finished a book in a long time.
You get like an hour.
Start them and then I
you
stop.
get like an hour to read every time you take a flight.
True. Maybe I'll read. Well, I'm reading The Hobbit right now. I'll probably finish The Hobbit over these holidays. That's a good idea. I haven't read that. See, I haven't read anything since. Okay, I've read like a chapter since our last episode, but that's it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm a slow reader.
Gotcha. So give me your category.
Well, I wanted to talk about what I think was the best single of the year. So like released a single song before the album came out. And this was tough for me because Good For You by Olivia Rodrigo came out first. And it was really good because I already had the hype of Olivia Rodrigo's driver's license. But then Good For You was like a way better song in my opinion. But then
what about okay, so you've got
I have a second one and I really don't know if I can decide between the two. Then like Billie Eilish came out with Happier Than Ever. And the problem is they're both these like songs that have a bridge that just like blows you away. And they're very similar and I love them both. So
is it just like the vibe of the songs that get you or is there something specific about like the theme or the lyrics?
With Olivia Rodrigo, I think I'm just like blown away that I feel like the reason this song popped off is first of all she's a cast member of High School Musical, the series on, I think it might be on Netflix. It's like a series of High School Musical. So like not the same cast at all as like the movies of when I was younger. And she was dating someone who was also a cast member. And when they broke up, that's when she wrote the song Driver's License. And everyone went crazy about it because it was about their breakup and how he moved on to a new girl. And it blew up on TikTok. And then it like blew away the records for like a single with the most streams or listens within the first week that it was released. And I think it was because of TikTok. So I think that was just like an eye-opening, like, wow, this is what TikTok can do, or like the power it has now. And so then I was blown away with just the Olivia Rodrigo's, I don't know. I knew who she was at that time, and I liked the song because it also had a really good bridge. It's all about the bridges for me. And then when that other song came out, which is, I mean, people thought it was very much like Misery Business by Paramore. And I love that style of music. And so like, I love that like little bit of rock in there. That's what I love. And then Happier Than Ever is the same way. It like adds that little bit of rock to the song. And for Billie Eilish, there's no like underlying story. It's just, wow, that was a really good song. Cause like you're listening. And then you're like, I got the chills the first time I listened to it, which I really like.
Like when you actually like shiver from the music?
Yeah, or like get the goosebumps. Yeah. I get that feeling or that sensation a lot when I hear something really good, especially live though. Like seeing shows live.
It can be so much more powerful live because you get like all the other people there.
Yeah.
And you kind of get caught up in the crowd energy.
Yeah. Well, I still remember this one time I played an orchestra in high school and we had 3 different orchestras and the really good one while I was a freshman played and there was a cello solo and I immediately got chills. I was like, I have chills right now. Just thinking about it, I was like,
cello.
This guy is like a senior and he can do that. I get chills often.
Yeah. I mean, that's ASMR. You know, we were thinking about doing an ASMR segment at some point.
Yep.
Maybe that's coming in 2022.
We'll do our best. I don't have a lot of experience with that. I just do it with music, but because I've watched like the people go to the microphone and I'm just like, this is weird. But
it is weird, but maybe that's part of what makes it a good segment.
Yeah. And then, okay, back to the single. There was a third one on there, but it was solely for the purpose of, I don't know if I liked it, but have you heard about Taylor Swift's All Too Well 10-minute version?
No.
Well, I guess I can't call it a single. It was released with the album. So it's a single song. I don't know. I feel like it was hyped up so much, and then she did a 15-minute mini film with it that she directed. And I don't know. It was
did you watch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I'm the biggest Swiftie, but I feel like everyone was blown away by it.
No, don't say that. The internet's gonna cancel.
I love Taylor Swift.
Yeah, we stand for T Swift.
I listened to the whole album on our road trip in Zion, but I mean, it is pretty cool that she broke the record for like the longest song to hit #1 on the Billboard. I don't remember the one that was there now. I feel bad. I think it was like 9 minutes and 38 seconds, and this one's like 10 minutes and whatever. So that's cool that it did that because I think a lot of people loved that.
People don't really listen to the radio anymore, but are there like radio edits of these long versions, or would that just be
I don't think this one is on the radio. I don't know if the other one was, because it was like an older song, and so I wouldn't know if it's played on the radio or not. I'm someone who still listens to the radio, so I usually know what's on the radio or not, which people think it's weird, but I like the radio.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have moved over to Spotify. We'll have like the radio on just because we get into the car and it's like the radio comes on and we don't turn it off.
Yeah.
That's it.
But if I had to guess, fun fact, I've shared this with people before and they'll know this. In middle school, we all have our own little lockers. I was obsessed with mainstream pop music, and every Sunday would be Ryan Seacrest's AT40, American Top 40 Songs of the Week. And I would write down all 40 songs and post them in my locker each week.
No way.
And so I started to get a good sense of like how much I hear a song on the radio and where I think it will fall within the list of the 40. And so like I feel like it's less so now, but I still feel like I can do a pretty good job where if you gave me a song, I could probably guess within like 5, so like plus or minus 2 or 3 of where it falls. I don't want to test this. I'm going to fail. But if I had to guess for 2021, I want to say that Good For You or Stay by Justin Bieber, Kid Laroi.
Wait, which one is Stay? Don't do more than 5 seconds of the song. For
You're going to have
purposes.
to give me a couple seconds. I can't do it. It's not in my head right now.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
if it
I
comes
think
to you,
one
just
of those.
Start singing.
Okay. One of those will be the top song of the year, I think.
One also. Of those 6 songs
streams.
You mentioned?
No, the 2.
Oh.
The last 2 I said.
Okay.
Good For You or Stay. Which I do like Stay. I just am not a big Justin Bieber fan. It's a good song, though. Best cat of the year.
You can't make me decide. I've got 2 cats.
I know.
Most frequent podcast guest, sure.
Honestly, sometimes I see pictures of other people's cats and I think I love cats so much. I'm like, they're the cutest thing I've ever seen to every single cat. And like, I have my own and I still think every time I see a new one, I'm just like, they're the cutest thing I've ever seen.
I don't know how they did it. They've managed to... Oh. Okay, I gotta not get swept up in the cat.
Would you like to do TV show?
Yeah.
Start with something else.
I mean, this one's pretty easy, and I think a lot of people are going to guess this for me already. But best TV show. Ooh. Actually, this might be tough. I was going to say Squid Game.
That's what I expected, but
because I really, really enjoyed Squid Game, and even after like finishing Squid Game, my wife and I like watched some theory videos, and those were kind of fascinating about like things that might be going on, like, behind the curtain of Squid Game, and who's behind whatever, and how people might know each other, but it's not like called out in the show. Like, I love that stuff. However, we just started watching the Wheel of Time series on Amazon. Oh. And the Wheel of Time series of books were, I read them all and loved them. Like, I read them through college and then afterward. And seeing it finally like realized in a TV show, when like prior attempts at adapting it were just like the most horrifically bad, like they're unwatchable. But now this new one on Amazon Prime is actually like really good, and we're having a lot of fun with it. And it's a little more like lighthearted, I'd say, compared to like Game of Thrones. And I like a little more campiness in my show.
What does like campiness mean?
Kind of like almost like a goofiness to it. Like, it's not it's not as, like, I don't know, super dark as Game of Thrones or something like Breaking Bad, which is just like so dark. So we're really enjoying that. I guess I probably can't say it's my favorite of the year though, because I think they still have like 2 more episodes that are gonna come out before the end of the year. So I haven't finished it.
Okay.
So I don't know if I can put it on my best slot. Yeah. But like, if the next 2 episodes are as good as the first 6, then I think it's gonna be my best of the year. But for now, for the purpose of this podcast, Squid Game all the way, baby.
Now that I'm like thinking through the shows we watched this year, it's hard to like say if I can call it a show of the year because it's a series. There's multiple seasons, and like we might have binged the whole season, and I liked season 1 better than season 2, but so season 2 came out this year. Maybe it's not that good. So like, because I'm even thinking like Ted Lasso, absolutely loved. I feel like it became popular this year, but really like season 1 probably came out last year.
Right.
And like I liked season 1 better than season 2. So it's like hard to say. And then same thing with His Dark Materials. That's a show I really recommend. But I mean, second season was at like the beginning of this year, and I can't remember which one I liked better. I just really like that show. Like, I don't even remember how it ended. Usually when we pick up a show, we have to like watch like a 10-minute recap of the prior seasons.
My personal take is, if something is like relatively unknown in the year that it comes out, but then it like blows up and gets popularized in a later year, I think that's the year that it should be considered for like award nominations.
Yep.
Because there's like a lot of hidden gems that kind of sleep under the surface. Like I'm thinking right now about like indie video games. Like I think this happened with Among Us actually, which is something that we played a lot with our coworkers. But Among Us wasn't included in the award ceremonies in the year that it came out, like the Game Awards, which is video games version of the Oscars. But then it became popularized. It really blew up, and it ended up getting included in the Game Awards and actually won a lot of awards.
Yeah, because it probably blew up because of COVID.
Exactly.
And then, so it released like before then even? And
right, so it came out in, let's see, COVID came out in 2020, so Among Us came out in 2019.
Okay, wow. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I think that's the way to do it, because like if there aren't enough people aware of it that it's not even being considered as good or bad, then I don't think it truly exists.
Then I'm going with Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso it is.
Watch it, it's good.
Okay, so you had, what's your best moment?
So this one, like I have taken like multiple vacations. I've had really good hangouts with friends. I don't know, but I really think like a moment that stands out in my head this year, and I don't know if this is going to sound cheesy or what, but like the day I got my COVID-19 vaccine, like the first dose, it was like, I probably cried. I feel like I'm going to cry right now. I just felt like it was like a part of history. Like, wow, I'm taking this like brand new vaccine because of this crazy virus that happened. And now I'm getting a shot. Like, I don't know. I think I was just like in the moment, felt like it was like a historical moment of my life. It sounds weird, and I definitely don't think people think that, but that's how I thought of it.
No, I think a lot of people feel that. This was not what I was expecting you to say, but I think a lot of people felt that, and I'm sure the people administering the vaccines probably also saw a lot of people like get emotional getting their shot.
I was thinking like I was so thankful for it that I almost wanted to be able to volunteer at a place like that to be able to like disperse it or whatever. And I did look up volunteer stuff, and of course the only openings are like the actual nurses, and I was like, well, I'm not a nurse, so I can't do this. Yeah. But yeah, because I felt like it was a powerful moment for me.
Yeah, and I'm thinking back to how I felt during it. I don't think I like had like an immediate emotional reaction, but I also felt like a lot of relief on the day that I realized that it was in full effect for me. Like I didn't need to wait any longer, because there's like it was like a 2-week waiting period or whatever before the shot is like in effect. And I remember on that day just feeling like, I don't know, it was like a weird unwinding of a lot of stress for me. So that was really good. Yeah, that's a good one.
I feel like it changed the course of the world. COVID changed the course of the world, and then vaccinations did. I mean, now we're still evolving.
I mean, yeah, the hospitals are still full. There are still a lot of people, who aren't vaccinated and are going into the hospital. Predominantly, it's unvaccinated people in the hospitals right now, as I understand it. And yeah, that's not good. Obviously, like if the hospital's full of people who are very sick with COVID, then it makes it harder, one, to treat them, and two, to treat people who are getting sick from other things, like your typical heart attacks and strokes and everything else on the list.
Yeah, and just hard on resources. Yeah.
Anyway. But that's a great one. No, I love it. I'm like, so I wasn't anticipating that at all, because like you said, like you've had so many like travels and like cool experiences and all that, and then
just this one little shot one day.
Yeah. And the reality is, like, you wouldn't have been able to, or maybe wouldn't have been comfortable with doing like a lot of those things.
Yeah. And I think something that hit me too is, like, I think at first when I found out vaccines were being created, researched, whatever, I was pretty scared about this brand new thing being put into my body. I'm very like protective of my body.
You're talking about what goes in, like the mRNA.
Yeah, I don't even
specifically, or just like any,
just in general, that it's a brand new thing that like there isn't long-term studies done on it type thing, and that kind of scares me about other things in life. And like e-cigarettes, for example, I'm just like, how long have those been around? Like, we don't actually know the long-term effect of them, and so like stuff like that really bothers me. Then I don't know that knowledge, and so that's why I was like, when I found out that I could get it the day I got it, I was immediately in, and I was like, wow, I felt like that was like my gut feeling of like, I need this and I need it now type thing.
Oh, so that's so what you said is you had a lot of like fear about it, but then once you realized that it was available, that just turned off, and you were
I was like, I need this.
No, I need it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
I think leading up to it, I started to get like, I really can't wait to get the vaccine. I did start having those feelings because I was over it. I was like, I just want a normal world again, but I don't think that'll happen. But so it was kind of like a flip of the switch, because like someone told me, hey, they're giving them to all ages here. I went over to Dan. I'm like, hey, can we leave right now? They close in an hour.
Yeah, and I remember like when you told me that you guys got the vaccine, and I was like, wait, how?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So that was, and then I think you did point me toward a place that was doing it for like all ages at that point.
Yeah.
So and it was still very thankful for that.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I was surprised that you got a different kind than I did, but
right.
I was like, oh, okay. They just take whatever's available.
So, can I talk about my favorite game of the year?
Sure.
Best video game of 2021?
Yes, but did you want to talk about a moment, or do you want to save that for later?
I don't know if I've got a best. Oh, actually, you know what? Okay. Let me talk. Listen to this. So, this past week, I went to Brazelton, Georgia.
Oh my gosh, I meant to talk about this already.
to get my it was my final like credential ceremony to earn my fellowship in the Society of Actuaries, which is
exciting.
So you say. And it was an excellent event. I think my favorite part was probably networking with like all the other actuaries who were getting their final designation at that point. It's like the end of a long journey for some of us, like a decade-long journey. So to finish that was good. But there was like a moment the last night that we were there, and my wife came with me too. And like guests are invited to the final banquet and reception of the ceremony. And after all the dancing and drinking and dining ended after midnight, a lot of people like went back to their rooms because the bars on the premises were closed. But we and I don't know, maybe 20, 25 other people like stayed out in the hotel lobby where there's a big piano. One of the actuaries is apparently very good at tickling the ivory. And I don't know, you're just playing all these like nice songs. Somebody ordered pizza. We all relaxed, and I don't know, there's like this feeling of Are you ever like in a situation where you're so happy and relaxed and enjoying the moment, and you realize that you're going to remember the moment, and you start to feel the emotion of reminiscing even while you're still in the moment?
Yep.
It was one of those moments. So it was a very sweet, probably like hour and a half of just like relaxing in this hotel lobby with other people who just achieved something pretty monumental, and their guests who supported them through it.
I kind of forgot about this. I wanted to say, like, congratulations to our new FSA.
Oh, yeah.
But I forgot to start off with that.
Well,
congratulations now.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Despite the timing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about this before in an earlier episode, how in some ways, like, this doesn't feel as impactful to me. I revisited some of those emotions or lack of emotions later on, did some ruminating about it, and I realized, like, despite the fact that I don't feel a lot about like my own personal academic achievement with this, I was still feeling a ton of like pride and like belief is maybe a good word in the profession itself.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm really like holding up out of this entire situation is like my own achievement doesn't mean a lot. What really makes our profession as valued as it is, what makes us great advisors to our principals and clients, what makes us an incredible profession is the fact that we've got this code of professional conduct. We've got our actuarial standards of practice, even things like the disciplinary group, the ABCD, and our informal actuarial communities, the way that we support each other and also hold each other accountable to like the standards of practice and the code of conduct. That's really what makes us the profession that we are. That's why we are trusted and respected. Like when we get hired to work for an employer or get hired by a client, they're not thinking about all of the exams that we took. Yeah, that technical side is important, but what they're really thinking about is they want somebody who's going to be unbiased, that's going to follow certain standards, that's going to be ethical, that's going to support their business in a way that they can trust. They know we're not coming in with some other agenda because we're trained not to. That to me, like every time I think about it, I'm like, yeah, this is great. And I'm proud to be an FSA because I'm a part of that.
Yeah.
Not because of what I did to get there.
Gotcha. I like that way of thinking about it, I guess. And I feel like it's a really good explanation of it. And you did a really good job explaining that.
Thanks.
I feel like it could be a speech at the next banquet. Watch out.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that perspective a lot. Probably because, that's the profession I'm in too.
Yeah.
So
well, and you're close to the end of your journey to FSA as well.
Yes, hopefully. Yeah.
I believe that you are. Yeah.
I feel like I believe too, which is why I might be very sad if I'm not close. Yeah.
Let's forget all about that. Do you want to hear about
I want to hear the
best
video game.
Okay, cool. I've been really excited to talk about this because, like I said in the last episode, I didn't have at that point a game of the year. And that was just a week ago, right? Also, like I said, I try not to pick a game that's just like kind of good. I like to pick something that I think is impactful to the game industry or impactful to me personally. And this year's 2021's best game of the year is a little indie gem called Before Your Eyes.
All right, let's learn about it.
Let's get into it. So, Before Your Eyes, it actually took me a little less than 2 hours to complete one playthrough. So it's very short.
What console?
It's on the PC.
Okay.
PC only right now. And when I describe the game in a minute, you're going to realize why PC is the best for it and kind of the only approachable release for it. So in Before Your Eyes, you play as a soul, like the soul of someone who's died.
Okay.
And you're just kind of floating in the water. And then the boatman picks you up to take you to like the end resting place of souls, right? Yep. But while you're on that boat journey, you relive your life through your eyes, right? So you have like the perspective of yourself as a baby, and you're just kind of like looking around, right? So you like control where you look with the mouse, but the only other control in the game, other than moving the mouse, is your webcam watches your eyes the entire time. And when you blink, you move forward in time. So what ends up happening is like, you're a child and your mom's talking to you or having an argument with your dad or whatever, and you're trying so hard to like listen and get to the end of the conversation, but inevitably you blink. And you're maybe 5 minutes in the future, maybe 5 years in the future. You move forward, right? And sometimes it's like these really beautiful moments that you're trying to like hang on to, but then you just blink and it all slips away.
Wow.
So I started playing this on, it was like Tuesday night or Thursday night, I don't remember. And Chen left to go to the gym. I installed the game, started playing it, and I was like weeping. I was crying for like an hour straight. She got back from the gym and my face is all red, and I said hi and all that. And then I was like, I think I got to get back and like finish this game tonight, because it's just too much to like I need to knock it out in one shot, because it's so emotional. So then I sat back down and finished it, and she's on the couch too, like trying to watch some show or something. But I'm just a mess. I've got like tears streaming down my face. And I'm not only am I crying, but it's not like I can just like cry, because when you blink, like the game moves forward. So I'm like crying, but also trying to like hold my eyes open to keep like the scene going. And honestly, it's such a beautiful story too, like from life to death of this person, and like the way that it touches on some like personal things for me too. Like the kid was like very sick when they were young, and so like some of that was like really touching a nerve. And it was just beautiful the way it ended. It was beautiful. I mean, start to finish, the whole thing was like, it was like 2 hours of tears. And it's one of these relatively few games that manages to tell a story that can't be told through other mediums or through other media. Like you can't go to a movie theater and watch that, like the story of that game, because part of the narrative itself is the fact that you can't hang on to everything. That eventually, like, no matter how hard you try, like a lot of these memories that you have are going to be cut. They're going to fade. They're going to, like, as you get older, like everything that you remember now, like you're not going to remember every trip that you took this year. You're going to remember like half of one of them. Yep. And to have a game like show you that and make you a part of that narrative, I can't speak highly enough of it. Yeah. Brilliant game. Before your eyes. If you've got a PC with a webcam, and honestly, like for non-gamers too, I highly recommend it. I think it's one of these games that, like I said, you use a mouse to move around or to look around. There are no other controls other than your blinking.
I feel like it's probably a good thing that it's so short, because I feel like this could be very straining on your eyes for some people.
I mean, I felt like 2 hours was the right time, and especially like being able to take a break an hour into it. Mm-hmm. I think that was the right way to play it.
How do you like find these types of games or discover them?
That's a good question. I listen to a lot of like video game podcasts, and as with anything like on social media, if you experience a little bit of it, social media will start recommending more of it to you. So for me, like if you were to look at my recommendations on any social platform, you'll see like a ton of like VR and video games and like indie stuff and swag clothing. So yeah, I think a lot of it is just like guided recommendations, unfortunately. Like I think that's like the other thing with social media, right? Is it kind of bubbles people. So like they know what I like and they'll feed me that. Yep. But they're not gonna like feed all of you my recommendations. So
definitely. Like my TikTok is all cats.
Yeah.
And some people do not like cats. And like I don't have any video games, but I'm sure people who are very into video games, like that's what I've never even seen a video on TikTok about a video game.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Yeah, my TikTok is all people drinking heavily and swearing a lot. So I think it all checks out.
That sounds like Rylan. Kidding. Yeah, I feel like I was gonna talk about potentially. I didn't know how to word it, like best TikToker of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
I really like TikTok. But I think how I'm gonna word it is like the best TikToker I discovered in 2021, maybe, because like I was on there last year, like when the pandemic started. I pretty much downloaded TikTok, but there's this girl. She doesn't do anything crazy. She just tells stories of her everyday life, but she's the best storyteller I've ever heard, and I don't know how she does it. Her name is Elise Myers.
Oh, very similar.
Yeah.
Is that part of the...
No.
All right.
I just love it. And like, I think part of the thing is like, how is she so good at story? Why is it that every time I stop on her like 2-minute, 3-minute long video, why do I listen to the whole thing every single time? Why does she get me so intrigued? And it's just the way she tells the story. Like a lot of like really interesting things have happened to her in her life. She also talks about her week too, but like, I'm just like, where do you have these, like, how do you have all these like diverse experiences growing up? So I think that might be part of it. But then I was like, what if I tried to tell the same story of like, she forgot the doggy bag when she took her dog on a walk and it went poop in someone's yard. And I'm like, if I told the same story, no one would like care as much as I cared about listening to your story.
Can you tell the dog poop story the way she tells it?
I cannot tell it the way she tells it.
I'm so curious to like know the technique or whatever. Like, does she have a good hook? Is it like the way she modulates her voice?
It is the way she forms her sentences, I want to say. Huh. So she'll be like, I went on a walk this morning. I was wearing 3 layers of coats. Why, you ask? Because I can't do it. Because it was so many degrees outside. So I can't even do
I'm intrigued. Keep going.
She's like, but do you want to know what coat I wasn't wearing?
What?
The one with 20 doggy bags in all of the pockets.
Oh, I love that.
Because she also talks about her anxiety a lot too. So like, I think that's like, I just love those type of videos too. So that's probably why I like her. But anxiety she's like, because I never want to be out of a bag ever. And she's like, it's 6 a.m. He starts pooping. I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And like, I think it's part of her hand movements because she also does this a lot. She asks the audience a question. She's like, who is up at 6 a.m.? This lady that the dog.
Oh, she's just like super animated.
Yeah, she is. And she does a lot of like emojis on the screen, and she has kind of like some signature emojis, I'll call it. So like I don't know, I always appreciate seeing them. And then, but yeah, I think it's the way she like.
When you say signature emojis, you mean like custom?
It seems like she created them. She's also a web developer, so like I think she might have like a graphic designer created them. But I'm unsure about that, but she uses them a lot, so I feel like it's something she did. But yeah, so I've also saw a lot of impersonations of her on TikTok, which is funny, but she's the only original. She does it best. But anyway, to conclude the story, I feel like I can't leave you hanging. It pooped on the lawn. This lady came out and yelled at her, "Are you going to pick that up?" And she's like, "Yeah, I was going to run home and get a bag right now." And she's like, "Sure you were. I have a bag for you." And she's like, "Thank you so much." But she was pretty fed up with it. But again, even that little part I told you right now, she made it sound way more interesting. And then I think what got her a lot more followers is her taco guy story.
Taco guy?
I don't want to spoil it. If you search Elise Myers taco guy, you'll find that video.
All right.
It's good. That's what made me really like her, because then you click on the video and you start watching all the rest of them and you get hooked. And so now I watch her videos almost every day.
Nice. Was that the best of 2021? Do you have something else that you're drumming up?
Well, I mean, I thought about sharing like my favorite album of 2021.
Oh.
Different than the single.
Right.
But then again, I would say Olivia Rodrigo's album.
Okay.
I do think she has work to do on performing. I don't think she's the best performer.
In terms of like stage presence?
Yeah, well, kind of. I feel like she had some good performances as far as like what stage performance, like action on the stage, but I don't think she's been very like she's not very used to it, and you can tell. And I felt like one of them, I want to say it was like AMAs. She felt very out of breath. And like she like just wasn't like trained or like has enough training yet for that, I feel like. And I also don't know how much she wrote the songs herself. I think she did write all the lyrics, but I don't know like how involved she is with that. So like that's why I'm still like, but I still love that album. So it's probably it's nostalgic for me because I feel like it's an album I would have liked as like a high schooler or a middle schooler.
Speaking of musical artists.
Yes.
Dune, going back there, yep. Zendaya was in that film.
Yes.
Yeah, do you listen to her music? 'Cause I didn't even know that she was like an artist until after I saw Dune.
I don't think I've ever known that either.
Okay.
I mean, I knew her from a Disney show. I think it was like right as I wasn't watching Disney Channel anymore.
All right, so she's like a Disney Channel kid.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that makes sense because I feel like a lot of those stars are also singers, like actor, singer type.
I gotcha.
Lifestyle. Yeah. But I didn't know that. While I was like researching all the albums from 2021 earlier, seeing if I forgot any that like came out really early this year, I kept seeing some that I've never heard of, but they were listed on like all these like top 10. So like I definitely have some albums to go and listen to because they probably won't be in my music taste as much, but I feel like I appreciate a lot of music. It might not be what I listen to all the time, but I still appreciate it. So I'm excited to do that this week too.
Yeah, there's, despite the fact that I've played so many video games this year, there's a lot that I just wasn't able to get to, especially like a lot of AAA titles, which is like video games made by like larger studios.
Gotcha.
Like I watched the video game or the Game Awards.
Yep.
When was that? It was like Thursday, I think. Thursday night.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, for like the Game of the Year category, I'd only played one of them.
And how many nominees were
there? were 5 or 6 nominees.
Okay.
So yeah, like pretty embarrassing like coverage on my part, but I think I tend to play like a lot more indie games, which are a little bit shorter in general.
Yeah.
And then some like AA kind of games.
I feel like you wouldn't have as nearly high of a number of video games if you played all the really long ones, right?
Yeah, that's true as well. So I think my end count as of today is probably like 35 games, because wasn't it like 31 as of last week's episode? And yeah, I played like 4 more since then. Enough to. Yeah.
Whatever number plus 4.
Actually, it's probably more like 34 at this point.
Okay. I thought it was 38, but now I don't remember. I did the math. I even before I put the number in there, I like checked on a calculator 3 times.
Yeah.
That'd be so embarrassing if I added up the number wrong.
I'm with you. During that episode when we were playing like that little game.
Yeah.
I was like so worried because there's no like on-screen tracker as we're editing the episode, letting us know everything. It's like I was like having to count with each like new category that we brought up to each other.
Should have done a paper.
Yeah.
Paper and pencil.
That's the way to go.
Yeah.
Ditch the computers. We're bringing
Don't need those anymore.
we're bringing the podcast to you analog in the future. Okay. So is that the best of 2021?
Yeah.
Is there anything else that's best? Best YouTube channel, I think, is Who You Know, right? Who You Know podcast.
Heck yeah.
Who You Know podcast with your Who You Know hosts. I guess we can talk about holiday traditions, right?
Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. I thought you'd never say that.
I wasn't really talking to you.
Oh. Well, listen up. We looked at the recording time while we were on our little break, and it turns out we filled up a lot of content already in this episode.
Yeah, and I don't want to make you sit here for another 30 minutes, even if you want to.
I also don't want us to be drowned under editing for
oh yeah
for
I wasn't even thinking of that.
50% longer than normal. So I think we're going to cut the episode here today, and we will circle back on our holiday traditions talk in a later episode, which will be probably on pace with our normal release schedule. But just as a reminder, with the holidays and everything, we're probably going to have a on and off kind of publication period for a few weeks here.
Yep.
And hoping that we'll have a guest for our next show.
Yeah.
I know we've had a lot of host-only episodes, but we want to build our guest pipeline back up and start having more people on the show again, because we really, really, as much as we like getting to know each other, we love getting to know our guests as well. And
thank you for watching.
Oh, I was going to say, we like getting our guests to know other people as well.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. So sorry. That's it for today.
I'm never apologizing for this. But thank you all for joining us.
See ya.